When you start looking at budget-friendly gaming laptops, the first thing that scares most people is the memory of cheap machines that barely survive a single game session before they start stuttering or overheating. I've seen a lot of folks buy a low-priced model, only to regret it when the fans roar louder than a sports car and the battery dies the moment the game spikes. So the question I keep asking myself is, does the Lenovo ThinkPad E16 actually feel like a smarter buy, or is it just another flash in the pan? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The ThinkPad E16 is trying to sit at the crossroads of business-grade durability and gaming-grade performance. At first glance, the 16-inch chassis looks more like a workhorse than a gamer's rig, a sleek jet black finish, a modest footprint, and a weight that's still portable enough to toss into a backpack. That alone already sets it apart from many of the bulkier gaming laptops that force you to choose between a desktop replacement and a laptop you can actually carry. Let's talk about the engine. Under the hood you get an AMD Ryzen 7 7735HS, an Octa-Core processor that, on paper, outpaces the Intel i7-1355U you'll find in a lot of ultrabooks. In real-world testing, that extra horsepower translates into smoother frame rates in titles like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Fortnite when you dial the graphics settings to medium-high. The 64GB of DDR5 RAM feels generous, especially if you like to keep a dozen browser tabs, a streaming app, and a game launcher open at the same time. It eliminates the out-of-memory warnings that can ruin an otherwise decent gaming experience. Now, heat and fan noise are the two deal-breakers for any laptop you intend to game on. The E16's cooling system is built around a dual-fan design that leans on Lenovo's ThinkFan technology. In practice, you'll notice that the fans stay relatively quiet during light tasks, typing up a report, browsing, or watching a YouTube tutorial. Once you push into a demanding title, the fans ramp up, and you'll hear a low to moderate roar that is noticeable but not ear-splitting. The laptop stays around 85 degrees on the CPU under sustained load, which is hot but within the safe range for Ryzen chips. It means you won't be forced to shut down a game after 10 minutes, but you might want to keep a cooling pad nearby for marathon sessions. The display is another area where the ThinkPad E16 makes a compromise that many gamers will accept. It's a 16-inch WUXGA panel, 19201200, with an IPS backlight, delivering 300 nits of brightness and covering about 45% of the NTSC color gamut. It's not a 4K or higher refresh rate screen, so you won't get the deep saturation of a dedicated gaming monitor, but the extra vertical pixels compared to a standard 1080p panel give you a bit more real estate for UI elements. In a well-lit room, the anti-glare coating does its job, and the 120 Hz refresh rate, while not advertised, holds up well enough for most competitive titles when you enable the performance mode in the graphics driver. If you're a color-critical creator or a competitive esports player who demands 144 Hz, you'll likely want to pair this laptop with an external monitor. Keyboard feel matters a lot for gamers, and ThinkPads have a reputation for sturdy keyboards. The E16 continues that tradition with a backlit, full-size keyboard that includes a numeric keypad, something you rarely see on gaming laptops. The key travel is around 1.5 mm, giving a tactile response that feels solid without being mushy. The backlighting is single-zone white, which is enough for most low-light gaming sessions, though it lacks the RGB flair that many gamers love. The integrated fingerprint reader sits conveniently to the right of the spacebar, offering a quick login without having to type a password each time. Battery life is where the compromise becomes more evident. The 57Wh battery can last around 6 hours when you're just browsing the web or streaming video at 1080p. Once you fire up a modern game, you'll see that number drop to roughly 2 hours before you need to plug in. That's not surprising for a machine with a powerful CPU, a fast 2TB PCIe SSD, and a 16-inch screen, but it's worth noting if you plan to game on the go. The laptop does support rapid charge, bringing you back to a usable charge in about an hour, which helps mitigate the short gaming session window. Port selection is modest but functional. You get a single USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 port, a couple of USB-C ports that support DisplayPort and charging, an HDMI 2.0 output for an external monitor, and a headphone jack. The Wi-Fi 6E module ensures you have a solid wireless connection, which is essential if you're gaming on a LAN or a high-speed router. Bluetooth 5.3 handles peripherals like headphones or a wireless mouse without lag. Now, who should actually buy this machine? If you're a professional who needs a laptop that can handle both spreadsheets and the occasional gaming session, the E16 hits a sweet spot. It's great for developers, data analysts, or engineers who appreciate